Mikal Watts of the Watts Law Firm, never one to back down from a fight, and he's involved now with some litigation, is a perfect example of that. Mikal, tell us about this latest litigation you've got involved with.
Sure. This is on behalf of different companies and individuals in the United States who were forced to illegally pay collectively over $150 billion in tariffs to their government. As you may know, the United States Supreme Court has held, as of a couple of weeks ago in February of 2026, that the use of the International Economic Powers Act was illegally utilized by the Trump administration. So-called IEEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, has rules about what are the conditions under which a president may impose tariffs. Our president used it in an illegitimate way. We have a determination from the highest court in the land of the United States that tariffs were illegally levied against American businesses who pass those costs on to American citizens. The tragedy is that we've all experienced this runaway inflation as a result of the COVID pandemic, and now it's happened again through an unforced error by our own government, imposing $150 billion in taxes in a way that was not legitimate under IEPA.
And now you and you've teamed up with some other attorneys to try and recover that money for these businesses.
Yes, lawsuits are being filed across the United States, primarily in the United States Court of International Trade, to get that money back. And unfortunately, it shouldn't even be necessary. Once the United States Supreme Court says you couldn't do under IEPA what you did, the honorable thing to do would be the government would give the money back so that that money could be passed down to the consumers who already paid for these tax increases in the form of illegitimate tariffs. But the Trump administration has made it very clear they've gone on record. The Supreme Court didn't say I had to pay it back, and we're going to be in litigation for years. That's unfortunate because that's $150 billion that got sucked out of the economy, sucked out of the American consumer by virtue of illegitimate tariffs that needs to be put back. The American people are entitled to that money back. You can literally put $150 billion back into the American economy by causing this administration to do what the Supreme Court has already said it should do, and that is do not levy tariffs illegally. And when you do, obviously you have to pay them back. Unfortunately, they're not going to do that voluntarily. This is why the lawsuits are necessary.
And this affected not only big, huge companies that we've all heard of, but I expect smaller companies, smaller businesses that were affected by the tariffs. They can get involved in this litigation as well.
Sure. I mean, we've got some of the largest companies in the United States that are going to be plaintiffs. Walmart, Federal Express, UPS, Lululemon, a lot of the garment salespeople, jewelers, anybody that imported things from international manufacturers, whether it be from China, from Taiwan, from Mexico, from Europe. The United States, as we know, has a massive trade deficit. We are a net importer of goods and services, and a tax was placed on those goods and on those services by the Trump administration. $150 billion of ill-gotten levies went into the Treasury of the United States government and needs to go back into the pockets of the American taxpayer.
Is there is there a time constraint on this, Mikal? Is there a benefit to getting involved earlier rather than later?
Well, the reason to get involved earlier is there's something in the law known as prejudgment interest, and it starts when you file the claim, when you file the lawsuit. So if you sit back waiting for this administration to finally decide to issue refunds, you're not going to get interest on your money. You're going to get the amount that was levied against you without regard to the massive amount of economic productivity that you could have achieved if you'd had access to that money long ago. So we are immediately filing lawsuits on behalf of people who choose to hire us so that that prejudgment interest starts, and that it has the second salutary effect of applying pressure on the administration to do the right thing in 2026 as opposed to 2030.
Right. And so who specifically are the defendants in this case?
Well, the defendant is, in effect, the United States government. It's the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency, the commissioner of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. There's different American agencies that helped implement this that are going to be sued. But the bottom line is this is going to come out of the U.S. Treasury and back to the U.S. taxpayer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking some time to explain it to us, Michael.
Thank you.